Hi everyone, my name is Rick and I welcome you back to my channel. Today, again, I'm in my backyard and here is Swiffer. She hasn't been out during the video, and it's surprising because the chickens are out as well, so she's probably getting more used to them. She likes to follow me around the yard as I shoot videos usually, but when the chickens are out, she kind of hides in the house. So today I'm going to give you a tour of the backyard, and then I'm going to show you a bunch of trailing Hoyas. They're small leaf and they do well in a hanging basket, and I just let them hang and they look great. So I have those to show you. So, and then I have some other stuff, other Hoyas as well. So let me start over here in the garden entrance. And I think I have a Hoya Kiki that's getting ready to bloom. And then over here, I brought this up from my other greenhouse. This is my big Hoya Illigorium. She's a little sun-stressed. She's in a 4-inch pot, and she went through long periods of time without watering. So she was getting a little tired, but decided to put out a lot of blooms. So she has a lot of buds coming up. But yeah, when she blooms, this true red is really spectacular. I really like it. So as you can see, my Acoltata isn't blooming yet, but it's putting out more buds, which I'm surprised it usually is in bloom when I shoot these videos, but it took a little break. So let me just go in the backyard, and then I'm going to concentrate mostly on the Hoyas that I picked out to show you guys. There's a couple orchids back here that are doing really well. I'm going to show you. This guy I think I showed last week's video is really crazy beautiful. The scent is lovely. You can smell it anywhere in a garden. And here's the name. And it's LC Hunserman's Gala crossed with Hunserman's Jade. And the color is just really, really stunning. And it has, I think, 6 flowers on it. Actually 5. So it's a really beautiful orchid there. Then I want to show you, this Hoya never gets much attention. I got this eons ago, maybe 15 years ago. It was Hoya flavescens, and it's supposed to have a really nice big yellow umbel. I haven't bloomed it in that long period of time. I really kind of neglected it for the most part. It's growing in a pot over there, and it's traveled probably 15 feet to get where it is. So hopefully I'll get that to bloom to show you guys. And let's go and look at the philodendrons here. I showed these every week. They're pretty showy. The Frydek variegated and the obliqua. And this is the Ring of Fire. As you can see, it's putting out really, really lovely variegated leaves. So it's becoming one of my favorites. And then over here, the Tortium is putting out a new leaf, I think, on that little spike there. And my local plant friend, her name is Brenda, she lives in town, and she came by maybe 2.5 months ago, and she gifted me a division of this orchid. It's an Antecedum golden mirth. Sorry about the airlines and helicopters going by today. It seems like a really busy day here in St. Petersburg, Florida for some reason. The birds are really loud this morning, and everyone's very active in the neighborhood, so it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes shooting these videos with all this interfering sounds, but what can I do, right? So yeah, this is Antecedum golden mirth. And this orchid kind of spooked me a little bit when I first saw it open. I had no idea what was it going to look like. I knew it was a catasetum, but let me show you guys the tag. It's a cross of Millie's Frilly Dragon Chocolate Frills and Catasetum Karen Armstrong Dark Darling. And a very interesting name. But if you notice closely, It has these two really long fangs, and it looks like it's like screaming at you. So it opened in like at night, like at 11 o'clock at night as I was walking by, and I saw it, so I was a little startled at the look of this orchid, but it's actually beautiful in its own way. And then over here I have a philodendron yopi. I picked it up on eBay. I just couldn't pass it up. It was such a good deal. Yeah, it has like the nice back red ribs, and it has pretty big mature leaves, as you can see, that are characteristic of yopis. So let me just get to the Hoyas I picked out for you. It seems the chickens want some attention today. So everyone's out. Swiffer's out, Nips is out, all the chickens are out. It seems like all the neighbors and all the helicopters and airplanes are out. So let me get to the Hoyas I selected for you today. It seems like it's going to rain in a little bit. It's predicted to rain this afternoon. So before it starts to rain, let me just get to the Hoyas. The first one I have for you today is this Hoya Michelle. Once in a while it puts out really, really stunning, almost completely silver leaves. This is like 75 to 80% splash. Then it gets some that are splashy but not as crazy splashy as this guy here. And then you have some more intermittent ones, and then it may skip a couple that are almost all green, but then it just puts out more of these really splashy leaves, and that's pretty typical of Hoya Michelle. It's not, I find it's a little trickier to grow. It does not like sudden changes. It doesn't like to be moved. It likes to be a little bit on the dry side, so yeah, it could easily root rot if you keep it too wet. So that's Hoya Michelle here on the stand. So guys, if Hoyas are your jam and you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I'm getting close to 4,000 subscribers, so I'm thinking I'm going to elevate this channel into doing more stuff, like taking you guys overseas on trips to probably Thailand and the Philippines and Europe. So subscribe, hit the notifications button, and you'll know when I keep up with these videos. I usually try to upload them every Sunday in the afternoon, so I do have new content coming in every week. So, and it's usually related to my backyard and some Hoyas that I grow. I grow mostly Hoyas, but as you can see, I have some orchids and philodendrons. Over here is a Hoya Seeds 2 AH 556, I believe, and it's been growing in a greenhouse where it gets 50% shade, and it's really hot in there. Most of the day it's at 95 degrees, probably cools down to 80 degrees at night, but as you can see, it's a stunner. The edge on this is really dark in contrast to the paler green leaves, probably because it's so hot in that greenhouse. And the leaves are a bit wavy. It's a very, very fast grower as well. As you can see, it has a bunch of runners there, some vine, and hopefully I will be getting some nice peduncles on there and blooms. This is really a stunning, stunning Hoya. Hoya Seeds 2 AH556. And this is an update on AH0025. And a couple of videos ago, I showed it this plant in bud, so I wanted to show you what the flowers look like. I had no idea they were going to be like this. I was enamored with these leaves because they're quite big. They have a nice dark edge, if you remember from the other video I did a couple weeks ago. And see if I can step back. It's quite a big plant, and I have it here in a 4-inch pot. Yeah, and the flowers are pretty sweet. They have like a sweet, fruity smell, not really overpowering, but I do really like this all pink, pink corolla and pink corona. Makes it a really nice umbel. This is probably on its way out. It's been blooming for like 3 days, so it's not a long lasting bloom. Probably a 4-day bloomer. So yeah, AH0025. And over here I have this hybrid from Cerisa Someday in Thailand, and she's so amazing. She's a really one of the best Hoya hybridizers in the world. And as you can see, this is a Carrii erythrina hybrid. I got it from her about 6 months ago, and it's really a good grower. It's putting out a lot of new growth. I've had probably 8 or 9 new nodes. It's putting out new leaves all the time. It's a really good grower, and I actually have it in mostly very coarse chunks of coconut and a little bit of sphagnum moss and some perlite. I do fertilize it every couple of weeks with a liquid fertilizer, half dilute. And as you can see, it's really happy and putting out a lot of growth. I have it in my small greenhouse here in the yard. So it's one of my favorite new Hoyas that I got. Yeah, so if you don't have this Hoya, keep it in your radar because it's a really beautiful Hoya, and it does have a beautiful bloom. And over here, this is Hoya IM8. It's supposed to get a really pretty white flower. As you can see, the leaves are a little bit small. They're like half the size of my fingernail. The leaves are not that thick. And so I had it growing in my greenhouse, but I thought it was a little bit too hot in there, so I decided to move it outside where it would get some rain. And it's doing much better. It's putting out a lot of new growth. So it really does enjoy being out here. My yard is usually above 80% humidity, and it goes up into the 90s. Usually average high is 90 to 95 degrees here in Florida, and the humidity is pretty high even at night. So it seems to like all that. It's pretty shaded area, so it's not, it's probably getting less than 50% shade. And this is Hoya lacanosa or croniana, whatever you want to call it. At one time, this was to be called lacanosa silver. As you can see, it's really, really splashy. Let's see if I can get it to focus. This Hoya was again up at my big greenhouse, and I brought it here because it just decided to put on a show of lots of blooms. So I let this Hoya dry out because it's such a large plant and in a 4-inch pot, and getting watered every 5 days wasn't enough to support all this vine. So it looks a little bit dehydrated, but I've decided to bring it outside here so it can get rainwater. And you can see it probably, I counted about 30 peduncles, and just a bunch of them are in bloom. Let me see if I can do it justice and capture all the flowers that it has. And this is probably about 6 feet. The vine hangs about 6 feet long, and that is a Hoya lacanosa / croniana blooming for you. And it's really, when it starts blooming like that and it's happy, and it continues to bloom almost all summer here in Florida. So I'm pretty excited about that one. Yeah, it's not very hard to find these days, but at one time it was highly desirable, and you could pay up to $70 for a small plant, but now you can probably pick one of these up for about $20 for a small established plant. The next one is Hoya David Kamingii. As you can see, it's a very long plant, probably 5-6 feet. And it does, when it gets blooming, again, it's a prolific bloomer. Lots of peduncles blooming in and out. And these flowers are quite attractive. Show you some more. And they rebloom on these peduncles over and over again throughout the summer here in Florida. So yeah, that's one of my favorite trailing Hoyas. You can see it does like to hang and bloom. And this is the one I show all the time. It's the species of Finis Burtonae. Again, it's covered in peduncles and it's blooming on and off pretty much all summer. And it seems to like it here in my yard. And it's getting rain. It probably gets a couple of days of rain a week. So it's not drying out as much as I would like, but it doesn't seem like it's struggling at all. And this is Hoya retusa, and you can see it's about 5 feet long. I've had a hard time blooming this Hoya. I've only bloomed it once in 20 odd years, but the foliage to me is really interesting. It's really not a fussy Hoya. Here in Florida, if you keep it evenly moist, it doesn't like to dry out completely. And these leaves look really tender, but once they mature, they're actually pretty hard and almost succulent. So it's not a hard Hoya for here in Florida. And here are my small leaf trailing Hoyas. If you like small leaf trailing Hoyas, please leave a comment below and tell me what is your favorite. These small leaves, for me, usually do better in hanging pots, especially if you grow them in like a greenhouse or outside here in Florida. I don't usually like to put stuff on trellis, just a preference. I think that's more conducive if you live in an apartment. But for growing Hoyas outside in the rain, it's always better to have them in a loose mix in a hanging basket. And especially for the small leaves, they like to trail, as you can see this. All these, except for maybe 2, are grown in a greenhouse. So let me go show you some of them. And please, again, let me know what you think below of small leaf Hoyas. This one is the Hoya bilobata. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it had a peduncle, and the flowers looked like they were just going to open. Today I went to look at it, and the peduncle just busted, and I was just left with that. So hopefully it'll bloom again. I don't know, it was because I had it in my other greenhouse where it's usually 95 degrees in there, and I brought it out here into the yard, and just the moving of Hoyas sometimes makes the buds blast, and that's not a rare thing to happen. So hopefully it'll bloom again. I'm pretty sure this is the real bilobata, but I will need flowers to confirm. And this is Hoya L. It's spelled E-L-L-E. I don't know the parentage of this plant, but it looks like it's some sort of, Lacanosa cross with Obscura type Hoya. And these leaves apparently do get pretty red. I've never gotten them to a place with a sun stress, so I brought it outside so I can see that happen. You can see it's a nice trailing Hoya. It has a bunch of peduncles. And since I moved it outside, it's really put out a lot of new growth, so it's growing pretty fast and putting out peduncles. If I move it into a brighter, sunnier area, these leaves should turn a really nice color. So that is Hoya L. And next to it is Hoya rotundiflora. You can see these leaves are almost, at one time used to be called Hoya square leaf, Hoya species square leaf, because the leaf is quite unusual. It's almost like a rectangle. They get to be about 2 inches long at most, but it's a smaller leaf Hoya, and as you can see, it's not hard. It's not the easiest bloomer for me. Last week I thought I had a peduncle that was going to open up soon, but it just turned out after investigating it was coming from another Hoya that was growing next to it. So it has a peduncle, but it's not blooming anytime soon. And this is Hoya tangensis. These leaves, if you're a sun stressor, they get super red. These are a little red. It doesn't get much sun here in my garden. but it is a happy little Hoya. As you can see, it's growing in like a 2-inch nursery pot. So it's in a really small pot, and it's, you know, pretty much a full plant, and it blooms quite a bit. It has a couple of peduncles, and it blooms pretty often. Every couple of weeks it'll put out a new buds on that peduncle. So yeah, it's a really nice Hoya. If you don't have Cypetrangensis, it's a small leaf, easy to grow, easy to sun stress, and it's a fantastic Hoya in my opinion. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. These little Hoyas are really special. They really look beautiful hanging over there. But I'm going to have to move them all out because that area gets very high sun in the middle of the afternoon. So, or else I'd keep them there all the way around the gazebo, but that can't be done. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back. Next Sunday I'll have a new video for you. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.